This is the One Girl Revolution podcast, a podcast that highlights the stories of world-changing women and girls across the country. We hope that these stories inspire you, but even more so, we hope that these stories help you to see your own value, your purpose, and your power to change the world through your life. Every woman and girl is a One Girl Revolution. This week on the One Girl Revolution podcast, we welcome the extraordinary 17-year-old founder of Khloe Kares, Khloe Thompson. Khloe is an inspiring young change maker who started her nonprofit organization at just 8 years old. Like, what? 8 years old. This girl is absolutely incredible, and she is such an example to each and every one of us that no matter how young or how old we are, we can all do something. And each and every one of us can make a difference and change the world through our lives. Khloe Kares is dedicated to helping the homeless and providing essential resources to those in need. What started as Khloe sewing and distributing care bags filled with toiletries and personal care items to women in her local community has grown into a global movement. Khloe Kares does work here in the US, but also in West Africa. Khloe is absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story. In this episode, Khloe shares the story of how she decided to start Khloe Kares at just 8 years old, the heart behind her work, the power of helping others, and what keeps her motivated to continue to serve others. Khloe tells stories of people that have been helped through Khloe Kares, what it means to her to help other girls find their power and their voice, and so much more. Get ready to be inspired by this incredible young woman as she proves that anyone at any age can change the world through their lives. Let's dive into this empowering episode. Here's my conversation with Khloe. Khloe, welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making the time. This is your day off. You're off of school today. And so I'm grateful for you for getting up early. I know you're out in California and I'm here in Detroit. So I appreciate you making the time to come on. And I can't wait to talk about all of the incredible work that you do. I stumbled upon your story and just was so inspired as I was going through. I was following you on Instagram. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this girl, there's just a girl who's doing amazing stuff. So I'm so excited to talk about all the great work that you're doing. But before we get into that, I would love for you just to share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your life with our audience.
Hi, I'm Khloe. I'm 17 and I live in Southern California. I'm currently a high school senior. I also have my own nonprofit organization called Khloe Kares, where I service homeless women by making tote bags and shoulder bags and filling them with different bare necessity items. I also teach kids leadership workshops and business skills so they can connect their passions with a purpose. And then finally, I take trips to Ghana where I install water pumps and bathroom facilities there.
So amazing. And you're such an inspiration because all of us can do something, right? We talk about that a lot on this podcast, that we don't always have to necessarily found an organization, but you've done that. You've done that as a young person. You founded this incredible organization, and you're an example to all of us that we can all do something and we can get involved in other organizations. Even if we don't found something, there's so much that we can get involved in and so many different ways that we can make an impact. But I want to rewind because Khloe Kares has been around for a while. I think you were 8 years old when you founded it. Can you talk about that? Talk about like what was going on when you were 8 years old? Where did this idea come from? Was there like a spark moment that you were like, I need to start something and do something?
Yeah, so every day on my way to school, I would see this one homeless woman, and I would kind of ask my mom different questions of, why or how she was out there. And of course, she would tell me of like her best ability, and I started to feel bad for her. And at the time, my great grandma, she was teaching me how to sew like tote bags and shoulder bags. So I told her about this woman and how I needed to help her. So the three of us came together and we started talking about like what we could do to help her. And I came up with the idea of making the tote bags and filling them with different bare necessity items. And that's how Khloe Kares all started. It just started with me being inspired by one woman.
Well, that's amazing. And that's just such an example that no matter who we are, no matter what age we are, we can make a difference. And sometimes it's that little idea, I talk about like little dreams, it's a little dream that you're like, hey, I want to do something. And a lot of times in life, we think we have to do something really big, right? We have to start a big corporation or we have to start a nonprofit organization. But for you, you really just did what you knew and it started with one, right? This one woman that you were able to help. And now Khloe Kares has just grown and evolved, I know, in so many different ways. So talk about that. Share with me how it went from that one woman and then how it's grown and evolved and talk about all the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, so that one woman inspired me to want to do more. And so it grew into me starting to do leadership workshops because I had plenty of youth who I would talk to throughout my time. And they're like, well, how did you start this? And how did you create your own nonprofit? Or how did you start helping people? And so I wanted to teach them the things that I had learned along the way of creating my nonprofit and tips I kind of wish I would have had when starting out. And so I started doing leadership workshops for youth. And now I teach those leadership workshops throughout the nation and also outside the country. And, with that, I also go to Ghana every year and I install water pumps and bathroom facilities out there because one year I was invited to go out there by a group of girls. Because in Ghana, they don't exactly have homelessness. It's kind of like if you know someone who's experiencing it, you allow them into your home until they get back on their feet. And so they were really confused on like what I was doing and why I was doing it. So they wanted me to go out there and speak to them. And I was like, I can't just go out here and just speak. Like I have to do something while I'm here. So I started, doing research into their water crisis in Ghana. And so I raised funds to install a water pump in a bathroom facility. And I've been doing that almost every year now. And right now we're working on building a creative arts center to help youth be able to have resources in different arts programs because a lot of the youth out there, their biggest fear, especially girls, is being married off before they can finish high school. So I want to give them a safe space where they can continue their education and not feel worried about like what's going to happen to them afterwards.
That's absolutely incredible what you're doing there too, because it's so important. And we see that a little bit here where women and girls can lose sight of their power and their purpose and their ability to change the world through their lives. And you're really instilling that within girls in Ghana and really helping them to see whatever their art can look like a lot of different things, right? And so having an art center there that you're able to really empower these girls to become the girls and women that they were created to be.
Yes, thank you.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at One Girl Revo. That's the number one girl REVO. We're on TikTok at One Girl Revolution. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel at One Girl Revolution. That's the number one girl revolution. You can find all of our social media links, previous podcast episodes, our Emmy-nominated documentary series, and more on our website at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number one girlrevolution.com. Well, I can't wait to continue to follow everything that you're doing in Ghana and then everything that you're doing here with Khloe Kares. I am just so curious, how do you get connected to the people that you serve through Khloe Kares, especially people in your own community? Is it that you just create these bags and you drive around and deliver them, or do people reach out to you? How do you get connected to the people that you serve?
So when we first started, we literally would make bags and drive around and pass them out. But now we've partnered with multiple missions and like homeless shelters within the LA area. So like the LA Mission and Douglas Center, which is within there for the women, the Midnight Mission, like all these different like homeless shelters who are within the LA area. We go there and we make bags and we drop them off to be distributed within their community of women. And like we also get to distribute the bags within the shelters. And so we do that so that we can, distribute as much as possible to women directly within these shelters. So that's kind of what we do. And, through Khloe Kares, social media is a very powerful form of connections. And so social media has really helped me when it comes to connect with people. But also a lot of people just reach out to me in hopes to collaborate or partner with each other. And it's a great opportunity for me to be able to, work with other organizations or work with other people to help spread awareness about what I'm doing.
We always say we're stronger together, but you're such a good example of that. Organizations need to be partnering more often and saying, all right, what are you doing? Let's not recreate the wheel. How can we work together and how can we collaborate? And so I love seeing that on social media. And I always say on this podcast that the free and easy way for anyone to get involved in the great work that you're doing or the great work that other organizations are doing is just to follow on social media and share. And so I will encourage everybody as we go through this podcast episode to really follow everything that you're doing and share, because you never know whose heart it might touch or who it might inspire to do something. Or maybe someone's just looking to get involved and they're like, oh, I've been following this girl, Khloe, and look at what she's doing. And this is what I want to get involved in. So we can all do something. And social media is such a powerful vehicle for connection, but also it's such a powerful vehicle for us to do good. And you're such an example of that, Khloe. This podcast is all about stories. And I know that you've done so much work throughout your young life, through Khloe Kares and through the work that you're doing in Ghana. Is there a story that you could share about the work that you're doing here with Khloe Cares, and then maybe a story about the work you're doing in Ghana, just of someone who has been changed by the work that you're doing, or something that you feel like really illustrates the power and the importance of the work you're doing?
Yeah, so out here, I remember I went to the LA mission, and they have a section just specifically for women called the Ann Douglas Center. So I go there all the time, and I'm always there, like talking with the women, passing out my bags. But this one particular time, I had went there, and I was talking with this one woman, and I had went to go to hug her because I'm a big hugger. So I had went to go and hug her, and she started to cry while I was giving her a hug. And so like once we were done hugging, we had like pulled her aside and was like, "Oh, why did you start crying? Like, did I do something or anything?" And she was like, "No, um, you made me feel human again." She said, because when you're in this sort of situation, people don't hug you, they don't look at you, they don't smile at you. They treat you as if like you're some other being. And, you finally hugging me, like I haven't had a hug in so long, and it really made me feel human again. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And that happened like when I first started, and like that has stuck with me with everything I do, because I've realized how impactful a smile can be or a hug can be. And so like imagine, giving someone a bag, how impactful that can be on someone's life. And that just continuously like inspires me to keep on going, because the little things that I do are able to make someone feel human. And it's just so crazy to me that like sometimes all it takes is a smile. And it's so unfortunate that these people aren't getting the love that they deserve with them being on the streets. And then a time in Ghana, there was a girl named Jaslina. So basically, Jaslina, as I kind of spoke about before, the girls, their really big fear is getting married off. So Jaslina, I remember one time we were doing a leadership workshop, and she was talking about what she wanted to do. I believe she said she wanted to be a flight attendant. And then she had pulled us aside. She was talking to us. We all were talking to each girl individually. And so when we were talking to Jaslina, she was like, "I don't know if I'll be able to do that because I'm scared my parents are going to marry me off for money." And I was like, I had never heard of such a thing. Like, this was one of my first times being in Ghana. I didn't know this was a thing. Like, out here, it's so normal for people to get married with someone that they choose to get married with, not because their family needs extra money. And so, she was like, "Yeah, and I'm worried I'm not going to be able to go to high school. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to finish my education. I'm not going to be able to finish school." And she was going down the list of things that she was worried she would not be able to accomplish in life because of that fear. And it really made me realize that I need to do something. I need to find an outlet for these girls. I need to find something to make sure these things don't happen for them. So, like, we raise funds to help pay for their school fees. So it's one less fee their parents have to worry about and hopes to have to ship them off. We help, I'm a queen mother at a school, so I help with like the food programs there. Like, I do as much as I can there because hearing that one story, and it's always just one story that really just inspires me to want to push harder and do more. And it was that one story that really made me realize I have to do more. I have to help these girls. I have to do something because that should not be a fear that is within a girl the same age as me, 16, 17 years old. Like, you should be worried about school and all these other things, your friends and having fun, not worried about like whether or not you're going to be able to finish your education.
That must be so surreal for you thinking about seeing these girls who are the same age as you and their fears are different, right? We should all be at 17 years old, you shouldn't be fearful of being married off to someone, a stranger. At 17 years old, you should be able to go through your education and chase your dreams and do all the different things. How is that for you? I'm sure it's very surreal to see and hear these stories from these girls who really are your peers.
It really is surreal because, like, going into a new country and going somewhere new, it's always like a new experience and you never know what to expect. But like coming out of that, I never expected to learn such like the hardships that these girls go through. But like they don't see it as hardships because that's their life. Like everything that they do on a daily basis, like they live life without electricity. They live life, their one heat source is a fire. They're living life where sometimes they have to wake up at 3 in the morning and they have to do their chores and they have to take care of their siblings and then still go to school and do the same thing when they come back. Or like, you know what I mean? Like it's realizing how much goes into these girls' life where I'm sitting here complaining about, having to take my dog out every day. You know what I mean? Like it's stuff like that where it's almost like, wow, like it puts into perspective like how much they go through compared to what I go through. And it's like, it's uncomparable. Like it's two different brackets of things of struggle or, just life in general. But like it's so surreal to me because when I go there, they never complain. They're always smiling. You would never know that one of these girls has been up since 3 in the morning. Like it's so crazy to me. Like they live their life so full of joy and just so full of happiness that you wouldn't know what they're going through at home or you wouldn't know what's happening. And when they finally open up to you, it really opens your eyes to like what you don't see on the surface and like what there's more to these girls and like they have dreams, they have aspirations, and sometimes there's just fears holding them back. And so like it's so beautiful being able to be there and help pull out those dreams, help pull out those aspirations, and allow for these girls to, really believe in themselves and believe that they can accomplish these things and go out and do it. Like one of the girls, she's in college right now and she's, working to go into fashion design. And, she wants to work in the fashion realm and field. And it's so crazy to me because literally we were buying her little mini sewing machines like a few years ago, and now she's actually going out and doing it. So it's like realizing those little seeds that you plant can take away those fears from these girls and allow for them to go out and do the things that they hoped and dreamed of just because you planted one seed within them. Like it's so beautiful to see, and it really is really surreal being there.
It's just the little things. And even the story you shared before about hugging someone, right? We can all do these little things that can have a transformative effect on people's lives. We never know what someone's going through. And even working with these women in the shelters and knowing their struggles and even just creating this bag for them with some supplies, you never know how that's just going to change the way that they look at themselves and to see themselves not as a victim, but really as a victor and be able to write their story and step forward. And same with these girls in Ghana, that you're really creating a space for them to own their story, to own their life and say, who was I created to be? What was I created to do? And same, it's the same thing on both sides, that you're doing in the US and then also the work that you're doing in Ghana. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So where does Khloe Kares go from here? And this podcast is all about dreams, Khloe. So in your dream of dream worlds, where do you hope that the organization goes from here?
I guess I just want us to continue to grow within like myself. Like that's one thing that like our organization has always done. Like as I grow, Khloe Kares grows with me. So like I hope as I get older, Khloe Kares will then also mature with me and allow for it to grow with me and like my new dreams and aspirations, it'll follow those because I want to always be passionate about the work that I do. And so, it growing with me and it following the different things that I love as well helps with me to stay passionate and stay within it. And so I want to really continue to do that because it's worked for the past 9 years now. And then, of course, our Creative Arts Center, that's something that we're raising funds for right now. And so I want to, have that open, have that seeing how it goes in like 5 years and 10 years, or even just 2 years down the line. Like, I just want to see how that will evolve and, where it goes from here and just all the impact it'll be able to make being there. And so that's kind of what I see for Khloe Cares in the future. I always say that a lot of times when you place big goals for yourself for the future, you tend to stay in a straight line and try to only focus on that. And it's almost like tunnel vision. And then it allows for you to miss all these different open opportunities and open doors that could just be right there that aren't aligned with this one specific goal that you set for yourself. And so I always try to say I make little small goals for myself. So little just points that I can stop at, but still allow for myself to move freely between these new open doors and new open ideas and things going on in my life. And so right now, I really just want my main goal to be to open up my Creative Arts Center.
Well, I know that's one of your main goals, but you do not have tunnel vision in my perspective. You are doing so many different things and you're so young and you've accomplished so much through Khloe Cares, but also you're an actor, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a fashion designer. I mean, there's so much, girl. You're only 17 years old and you have done so much. Talk to me about all that, all the other things that you do.
Yeah, so I have a love for many things. Like, I've always wanted to tell people my story and like hopefully inspire the youth. So I decided to write a book about it. And it's about how like my story from, my younger perspective to help inspire youth to want to, create change and hopefully seeing my story in that way would, help with that. And then also, the whole like fashion world and fashion design and everything around that. That's something that I want to do when I get older. And it's just something I love and am really passionate about. And so it's just something I've always just stuck with and followed with. Like I want to go into fashion illustration when I'm older. So like kind of just doing stuff like that and immersing myself in the things that I'm passionate about and, dipping my toes in everything really allows for me to find what I love. And that's kind of how I've maneuvered through my life and why I have so many titles.
We're multifaceted beings, right? Like we should have multi-talents. We should have multi-facets, things that we're interested in. And I think that's what's so beautiful, especially about women, is we just have so much, so many different facets, so many different layers, and life is full of many chapters too. So you might do one thing for a while and move on to something else. But where do you go from here, girl? Tell me. I mean, you're obviously graduating this year, so that's a big thing on the docket. But tell me, in your dream of dream worlds, where do you hope that you go from here?
Of course, college. That's like my biggest goal right now, and kind of tunneled down and buckling down on that and everything. And wherever college takes me, that's kind of where I'm gonna surround my life around and figure out what I'm going to do Khloe Cares wise and how it'll be incorporated in my college life and, you know, figuring that out because I want to go to school out of state. So it's going to be kind of different, not being here because, I have so many connections here. I do a lot of work here already. And so, going somewhere new, it's like almost starting all over again. And so it's kind of like figuring out where I'm going to go from there once I figure out college. So right now I'm kind of like a sitting duck waiting to see where I go. And then until then, I'm going to start strategizing, what I'm going to do with Khloe Cares and like just where my life is going to go from there.
Well, we here at One Girl Revolution have so many incredible women and organizations that we're connected with. So wherever you go to college, you'll just have to keep me posted and we will make sure that we get you set up and Khloe Cares will continue wherever you are. And I'm sure that your network in California. We'll continue to carry the baton for you back in California, but I can't wait to see you continue to grow and evolve. And like you said, Khloe Kares has just grown and evolved with you. And so I can't wait to see where you all go from here. Watch our Emmy-nominated documentary series featuring the girl inside and in tandem on our website or on our YouTube channel today. Check out onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com today. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel for our documentaries, videos, and podcast episodes. Khloe, if you could get to the very root of why you do what you do every single day, and I'm thinking about the work that you do here in the US with regards to Khloe Kares, and thinking about the work that you do in Ghana, if you could get to the very root of what drives you, especially on those difficult days, right? Because sometimes it's really fun and you're getting to meet cool people. I know that there are also really heartbreaking situations that you witness and women and girls that you meet here and in Ghana that can really just tug at your heartstrings and you want to help. And sometimes we can't do everything. We can't save people. But if you could get to the very root of why you do what you do, especially on those difficult days, what would you say that root is?
I would say ever since I was younger, I've always said this thing called smile money. And it's something that I have always been blessed with throughout my time within Khloe Cares. So it's every hardship I've gone through, every bad day, every single time I wanted to quit or give up, I remember all of the smiles I've been able to put on people's faces through the work that I'm doing. And it all just pays me back. Like any sort of, hard day. It's now I've been reimbursed. I've been paid back in smile money every single time. I felt like I wanted to quit. That smile money brings me back because it reminds me like there are so many people out there who still need to smile, who still needs that sense of joy, and I want to be that person to give it to them. And so, remembering that, I can have smile money. Smile money can be given back to me. And so as long as I get through this tough time, I will be paid back later down the line. So that's just how I think about it and what keeps me pushing.
I love that. I've never heard of smile money, and I actually just wrote it down. I was like, I'm going to remember that for those difficult days. And I think that's such a good example for all of us because we can go through really difficult things and we can all have days where just life feels heavy. And to remember that we all have a purpose and that we were made for great things. And I think a lot of times when we volunteer or do something good for someone else, that's really when we start to find ourselves and our purpose, even in those dark moments. And so thinking about it as smile money, I love that so much.
Thank you.
So what can people do to support your work? I know you have so much going on here and in Ghana. What can people do to support your work and how can we get involved?
I mean, the biggest thing right now is my creative arts center that I talked about. We're raising funds to help build it up. So if you're willing to donate there, that would be greatly appreciated. And then if you want to actually work with me directly, if you just go on my Instagram, it's Khloe Kares, Khloe with a K and Kares with a K. If you go on there, I'm always doing stuff. And if I ever have new stuff going on that you guys can get involved with, it'll be on there. Instagram is the best place to find me. Or even if you shoot me a DM on there, I'm always happy to answer about working or collaborating or really just anything, advice wise as well. So that's like the best way to like help support me or be a part of what I'm doing. So yeah.
That's great. Well, I will be sure to put your website, your Instagram, so people can easily get in touch with you and donate. I know a lot of times too, corporations want to get involved or other foundations, they want to get involved and support the art center. So I want to encourage everybody who's listening to find ways that they can support what you're doing. And like I said earlier on, the free and easy way to support anything is just to follow and share so people can follow you on Instagram and share about the great work that you're doing and follow everything that you guys have going on. What about for young people, Khloe? Can you speak to them specifically? What can they do in their own communities to emulate your work and what you're doing? I know it's started just with one woman for you, that you made one bag for one woman. And I think we all can do something, but What can young people and kids do in their own communities, and why should they care?
I mean, little acts of kindness are always important. Like one of my favorite things to say is that there's so many things that need fixing in this world. And if we all just make small little impacts, it'll make an even greater impact. And it's almost like a ripple effect. Like you drop one little piece of a rock or a pebble in water and it just expands and it turns into this big old ripple. So like even if you just pick up trash while you're walking down the street, or if you see someone and you give them $1, or you just give someone a smile, like I said, that has such a big impact on someone. Just these little things that you can do within your daily life that, doesn't require you to go out and buy stuff, that doesn't require for you to go out and like sit here and really plan it out. You know what I mean? Like it's these little things that you can do around your community that could be really helpful, or even finding other organizations that you can start with. You don't have to start your own to be able to make an impact. So you can find a local soup kitchen, you can find a local organization like mine and work with them and volunteer, because every organization needs volunteers to help them succeed and help them get to where they are now. And so I feel as if that's like the best way to really get out there and do work. And why you really should care is like I said, there are so many issues within this world that need fixing. And my generation, we are the generation that have to go out and fix these things that, sometimes not to hate the other generations, but like that the generations before us created. And so because of that, we have to go out and make change. We have to go out and fix these issues because it's going to affect us in our lives. So we just have to continue to go out there and create change, whether it's little drops of kindness. Just know it's going to make a big ripple effect.
Well, you and your generation are such an example to all of us. And I love following everything that you're doing. And I can't wait to see where you go from here, where Khloe Kares goes from here. But you are a one girl revolution. And that's why I wanted to have you on this podcast to share your own story and to talk about your great work. But who is a one girl revolution in your life? Who is a woman or girl that inspires you?
I would have to say my mom. She is like my biggest inspiration. Like, if it weren't for her, I don't think I would be where I am now. Like, she has helped me maneuver all things of life, and she still is able to juggle being a mom and being a wife and, having her own career and, helping me establish mine in life. And, she's done so much for me and has still been able to find time to find and do stuff for herself. And that's like so inspiring. Like, I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she juggles life and inspires me every day, because like she still makes time to, hang out with us. Like we go on little Disney dates. Like, you know what I mean? Like she still finds time, for us to have fun and be kids. And that was something I always admired about her, because like growing up doing this kind of work, sometimes it feels as if like you miss those opportunities of being able to go out and do like kid like things. But my mom always made sure I had that. She always made sure that I still felt like a kid, even though I'm in a world full of adults. You know what I mean? And she always made sure that I was ready, I was prepared. And yeah, like I said, I don't know where I would be on this journey without my mom. Like she really has inspired me and pushed me to be the girl I am today. And literally, if it weren't for her, I don't think I would be really anywhere.
Well, shout out to your mama and shout out to all the mamas out there. I was at an event yesterday, Khloe, and as you were talking, it made me remember this story. It was an empowered moms event, and there was a little girl in the room. And at the end of the conference, the girl that was putting it on, the woman that was putting it on, it was her daughter, and she yelled back to her and was like, "Hey, what did you say the other day? What is an empowered mom?" And she said, "It's a mom with superpowers. All mom have superpowers." And so you just sharing about your mom, it made me remember that. But it's so true. Women
Yeah.
have superpowers, moms have superpowers, and how they're able to be all things to, be a mom, be a wife, be a career woman, empower other girls like you. Moms truly do have superpowers.
They do.
So, last question, Khloe, before I let you go, that I always end this podcast on is, if you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
I would say this is something I always say. It's one of my favorite quotes. it's sometimes you have to close a door to open a window. It's Tyler the Creator. He's one of my favorite artists, but he said that, and it really made me realize that sometimes those big opportunities that seem like a big door that's opening for you, just know that sometimes if you close those, a window of opportunities will open. And so I always tell myself that whenever I'm heard no, or whenever like an opportunity doesn't go through, just know that sometimes that closed door now is going to open a new opening of opportunities, a new window. And the things with windows is that they pour so much out. Like a door only opens and that's its only purpose, but a window, it brings in air and it brings out air. It's like there's so much that comes in and out with a window. And so acknowledging the fact that sometimes with that door closed, you're opening a new found of opportunities that is so much greater than just that door that closed.
Girl, I am never going to look at a door or a window in the same way. That is so beautiful and so powerful to think about. You are such an inspiration, Khloe, and thank you so much for being on the One Girl Revolution podcast. And thank you for all the incredible work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. I had an amazing time.
For more from One Girl Revolution, to listen to all of our podcast episodes, watch our Emmy-nominated documentary series, follow us on social media, donate to our nonprofit organization, and more, please visit onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com.